Hello, my name is Mary Stoffel, and I am here to talk to you about my passion, which is shamanism. Shamanism is an ancient practice. In fact, anthropologists estimate that it's been around for between 40 and 60,000 years. And one thing that a lot of people think about when they hear the word shamanism is religion. I want to clarify right off the bat that shamanism is not a religion. It is not based on any religious practices. What shamanism is a way of living. It's a way of honoring our connection with every living thing on this planet, including the planet itself. So what it really says is that what happens to me happens to you. What happens to you happens to me. What I do, what I think, what I say affects everything. So when you live your life in that way, it becomes a very conscious way of living. And I came into this because of a very personal crisis that occurred in my life. So picture this. I'm an animal communicator. I finally meet my soulmate, the love of my life. He has a 10-year-old son. And I moved north of the cities to a place called Isanti, which was right smack in the middle of hunting territory at that time. My major power animal, my totem animal, is the deer. The first day of hunting season, I woke up to the sound of gunshots, and it literally tore me apart. So I turned from this stable, secure, confident person into an emotional wreck overnight. My husband was astounded, to say the least. This was affecting my marriage. It was affecting everything. And I couldn't get a handle on it until I discovered the power of the shamanic journey. This was where I was actually able to journey, go to non-ordinary reality, and commune with the deer itself. And it was the deer who taught me how to look at this, how to change my perspective, how to change my attitude, how to understand what was really going on here. And what it turned out to be was a contract between the animals and the people. In order for the species to survive, some of the animals were being sacrificed to the hunters, and guess what? It's the hunters who maintain the habitat for the deer, not the environmentalists. It's the hunters who support the environmental habitat. Every time they buy a hunting license, every time they buy some sporting equipment, a part of those funds goes into maintaining the habitat. And the deer looked at me in the journey and said, think about it. If you want somebody to do something for you that they have to go out of their way to do, you're going to have to give them something that's going to make it worth their while. This is a contract. It's okay. I had never looked at it in that way. That was my first experience with the power of the shamanic journey, and it changed everything. I was able to then understand all of the ramifications of hunting, and that this was not necessarily a bad thing. It wasn't automatically a bad thing. But moving on from there, that was just the tip of the iceberg, because once I discovered the power of the shamanic journey, I was then able to apply it to all other aspects of my life, namely career, finances, health issues, relationship issues, family of origin issues, past life issues, you name it. I mean, this works for everything. And I was like, wow, why didn't I ever know about this before? It's one of those very well-kept secrets. And so time went on. I was still working in the corporate world, and then, as you know, things started to take a dive, and I knew that I was going to be laid off from my job. I didn't know when, I just knew that it was coming, and I needed to start preparing. So in the book that I've written, The Practical Power of Shamanism, I actually have many exercises and sample journeys in there that address all of these different aspects of our lives. I've used those journeys, I've used those exercises to help me prepare for when I was going to be laid off. Where was I going to go with my career? Where was my, how are my health issues going to be addressed? I have an artificial hip. When that hit, I used the power of the shamanic journey to decide how was I going to address this? How was my healing going to be accelerated through this? And I have to tell you that through all of these things, I simply breezed right through them. There was nothing simply that I couldn't handle once I was able to work with my own helping spirits. And if I've heard the shamans that I've worked with say it once, I've heard them say it 1,000 times. If you have impeccable technique when you use the shamanic journey and you have established a good working relationship with your power animal and your teachers, your helping spirits, then you can trust the information that you're getting from them. What is so empowering about this is you can go directly to the source. You do not have to have the information interpreted for you. You do not have to have someone else give you the information and help you try to figure out, okay, what does this mean? You go directly to the source, you ask your question or questions, you get information, and you get advice. This has literally changed my life in the last 10 years. I now teach classes in how to do shamanic journeys. I have one coming up next Sunday on January 30th at my place in Isanti. And I also have written about this extensively in my book on how you can use this power to regain control in your life. Shamanism is all about balance and harmony, working with our environment, working with our relationships. How do we do this in a way that empowers us and empowers everyone else as well? And that's what this is all about, is doing these relationships and working with the spiritual world besides. Thank you.